Jeopardy! Fans call writers' misuse of clue into question. In a recent episode of Jeopardy! Fans were upset with the grammar used in a phrase. A few debated the issue on social media. Even a former contestant on the show shared their thoughts on the issue. Even dictionaries seemed mixed on the issue. The episode aired on Halloween, October 31, 2024. Returning champion competed against Greg Jolan and Alicia Buffa. During the first round, Jolan picked the $200 clue in a category called A Question of Time. As the clue read, the Navy popularized this alliterative term for scheduled entertainment time. It's caught on at bars around the world. Jolan gave the desired response with happy hour, which host Ken Jennings accepted. However, some fans thought the question could have easily cost a contestant the game. The issue for many was that the phrase was described as alliterative. The two words that make up happy hour do share the same letter, but they are pronounced different. The H is silent in hour, but not happy. Fans took to social media to debate the issue on the show's Reddit board. However, they seemed split among the issue. Some disagreed with the show's ruling. One user wrote, "Since when is happy hour alliterative?" Another added, "Alliteration is supposed to refer to sound. Photogenic frog is alliterative. Happy hour is not." However, other fans agreed with the show's ruling. Series contestant Isaac Hirsch even chimed in, saying, "Happy and hour both begin with H, so it's alliterative." The game was a good night for Greg Jolan. Another user even used their linguistic skills to defend the show decision. As they pointed out, the littera in alliteration is the Latin word for letter. However, even the use of Latin was debated. As one user pointed out, in Latin there was very little differentiation between letter and sound. Things were spelled the way they were pronounced and pronounced the way they were spelled. Same is true of Italian. The definition is rather outdated when talking about English. One user even brought up that dictionaries seem split on the issue. As noted by TV Insider, Merriam-Webster describes alliteration as repeated sounds, while Oxford English Dictionary alludes to the word's Latin origins, similar to the Reddit user. The game would prove to be a lucky one for Jolan overall. During the final Jeopardy, he gave the correct response to a clue about animals. As it read, the Aztecs called this animal Iotocli, meaning a turtle rabbit for its rabbit-like ears and its turtle-like shell. Both Buffa and Jolan correctly guessed armadillo. However, Jolan's wager helped him win the game with just a $2 difference. Jolan also appeared on the message board to share what it was like to compete. "It was fun to watch this again because I remembered very little other than winning. I think I recalled the big run I went on in the second half of the Jeopardy! Round, and I remember being frustrated that the second daily double in Double Jeopardy! Was in a category I moved away from. I think that may have even come across on TV. Do you agree with the show's ruling, or was it a grammar mistake? Make sure you come back to TV Shows Ace for all the latest TV and celebrity news." The Jeopardy! Fandom, known for its encyclopedic minds and unmatched trivia tenacity, has turned its powers of deduction away from the buzzer and toward a new target: the show's writers. On Tuesday's episode, nestled between categories like 19th century lit and state nicknames, a clue emerged that stirred more than just the players' brains. It ignited a firestorm across Reddit threads, Twitter timelines, and fan forums. The clue in question? From the category Historical Figures Misquoted, it read, "Greater than this 18th century polymath is often credited with saying, 'The only certainties in life are death and taxes,' though he never actually said it." The correct response, according to the show, was "Who is Benjamin Franklin?" But within minutes of airtime, an uproar began. "Ben Franklin did say that," posted user QuizWiz77 on Reddit's popular r/Jeopardy community, linking to a 1789 letter Franklin wrote to French scientist Jean-Baptiste Leroy. In it, Franklin plainly wrote, "Our new constitution is now established and has an appearance that promises permanency. But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." As thousands of fans piled on with citations, screenshots, and spirited debate, one fact became clear: Franklin had, indeed, penned the quote. While the idea of misquotation in historical contexts is a murky subject, often influenced by paraphrasing and apocryphal attributions, this seemed to be a straightforward case. Franklin said it. In writing. This isn't some Mandela effect moment, tweeted trivia podcaster Nina Ross. This is a letter. An actual letter. With his name on it. Come on, Jeopardy! The controversy quickly became known as Taxgate among fans, complete with memes of host Ken Jennings shrugging, Franklin with a speech bubble saying, "I literally wrote it," and clues reworded to poke fun at the mistake. This founding father of game shows once said, "Trust, but verify your clues." By Wednesday morning, #Jeopardy was trending on X, formerly Twitter, and the Franklin Institute, never ones to sit out a historical debate, chimed in diplomatically, tweeting, "We're quite certain Mr. Franklin would want credit for his words. Death and taxes and fact-checking are still essential." The uproar sparked a broader conversation about Jeopardy's role in not just entertaining but educating. For a show revered as a bastion of accuracy, the pressure to get every fact, date, and quote exactly right is immense. Unlike most game shows, Jeopardy! Is held to a scholarly standard by its viewers, many of whom treat watching the show like attending a daily graduate seminar. "I love the show, but mistakes like this chip away at its credibility," said longtime fan Harold Gibbons, who's watched religiously since the Trebek era. "We're not talking about a tiny slip here. This was a mischaracterization of one of the most well-documented quotes in American history." Some, however, defended the writers. To be fair, there's debate about whether Franklin was the originator of the idea, wrote historian Dr. Camille Norwood in an op-ed for Slate. The phrasing existed in earlier forms in European literature. Franklin popularized it in the American context, but he didn't invent the sentiment. Perhaps the clue was attempting to gesture toward that, but if so, it needed to be clearer. Others pointed fingers at a deeper issue, the growing pains within the show's evolving structure post-Trebek. Since the beloved host's passing in 2020, Jeopardy! Has weathered a rotating host roster, behind-the-scenes changes, and an increasingly online fan base that catches every inconsistency in real time. "The writers are under a microscope like never before," said producer-turned-critic James Salazar. "One clue misstep can become a headline. That's the era we're in." As of Friday, the show had not issued an official correction or statement, though a source close to the production hinted that internal reviews of controversial clues are becoming more common. It's unclear whether this particular clue will be amended in future reruns or removed from the show's online archives. In the meantime, fans have taken matters into their own hands. A Change.org petition titled "Justice for Ben Franklin's Quote" has garnered over 12,000 signatures. A parody account named Ben FranklinBut is now auto-tweeting verified Franklin quotes every hour with a dry wit that would likely make the founding father proud. And amid the online skirmish, an unexpected hero emerged. Leroy, the obscure French scientist to whom Franklin wrote his now famous "Death and Taxes" line. In a posthumous twist of fate, Leroy is enjoying a minor pop culture moment, with fans jokingly crediting him as the real MVP. Ultimately, the Jeopardy! Clue misfire serves as a modern parable about the power and peril of pedantic audiences, the immortal nature of well-phrased words, and the ghost of Ben Franklin keeping a watchful eye on 21st century trivia. In the world of Jeopardy! Knowledge isn't just power, it's sacred. And if there's one certainty in life, it's that Jeopardy! Fans will always fact-check the clues. Would you like this in a blog format or tailored to a specific audience? In the world of Jeopardy! Knowledge isn't just power, it's sacred. And if there's one certainty in life, it's that Jeopardy! Fans will always fact-check the clues. Certainty in life, it's that Jeopardy! Fans will always fact-check the clues.